Hello guys and welcome to a new video and welcome to my channel where we talk about everything music from death metal to Queen and everything in between. Today we have a new episode of Pedal Talk, this awesome segment in where we talk about my favorite pedals ever made. On this particular episode we'll talk about an awesome legendary pedal that almost never came to be. The VOX wah-wah pedal, the first wah-wah pedal ever made. Okay, so let's get to it. So come 1966, Beatlemania was at an all-time high, and they had just played the legendary Ed Sullivan show. And millions of people actually watched the show, and they all saw that VOX amplifier back there. So of course, literally overnight, VOX became a huge sensation in the music business. They went from being a mom and pop store in the UK to being an international sensation. Of course, VOX was already big in their own right, especially in the UK and Europe. They were already making the AC-15, the AC-30 and a bunch of awesome amplifiers. But this took them to a whole new step. So of course, they couldn't afford to make as many amplifiers as the world now wanted, and the demand in the US was huge, and even shipping the amplifiers from the UK to the United States was going to be a ridiculous expense for the time. So what they did is that they struck a deal with Thomas Organ Company where they bought the rights to manufacture VOX amplifiers in the US. Now, by building the amplifiers locally, they would already save up a ton of money, but that was not enough. So they tried to make a Super Beetle Amp or a Beetle Amp be a lot cheaper. They tried the same thing with the AC-30 and the AC-15 and all of the VOX lineup. And Brad Plunkett, a 20-year-old engineer, was in charge of all of that. So one day, they're trying the amplifiers out, and they had Del Casher, who was a famous session guitar player, recording a lot of stuff and trying out the amplifiers to see what worked and what didn't really work. Now, Del Casher was sitting in the studio's control room playing guitar, while Brad was actually playing around with the amplifiers trying to dial in a good tone. And one of the things that he had modified to make the amplifiers a little bit cheaper is that on the original Super Beetle amplifier, you know, the UK made one, it actually had a mid-boost switch. And he had changed that for a pot, a regular old knob, so he could actually go up and down as opposed to just on and off. So he's dialing that in. Del Casher is playing guitar and he can hear that tone swivel up and down, doing that distinctive wow 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 sound. And there it was. He rushed to Brad and told him, dude, that's awesome. Of course they didn't talk like that back then. But yeah, he said, I want that on a pedal. So what they did is they actually grabbed a volume pedal from a VOX Continental, they gutted it, and what they did is they replaced that with the mid-boost circuit. So they put that into the new casing. And thus, the wah-wah pedal was born. Now, Del Casher was in love with this sound. He thought it was so expressive and awesome. He thought it was going to change the way everybody played guitar forever. But VOX had no faith in it, none whatsoever. First of all, they didn't want to cater to guitar players because guitar players back then were broke. I mean, we still are. But there just wasn't a lot of guitar players. I mean, rock was still kind of new, so a lot of bands were still doing that jazz and orchestra-driven thing. So VOX said, okay, we can cater this to trumpet players and sax players. Like, think about it this way. We get an orchestra and we sell one pedal to each trumpet player, and we sell one pedal to each saxophone player, and there's 4 trumpets and 5 saxes. That's 9 pedals, as opposed to the one pedal we can sell to the one guitar player in that orchestra. So they actually market it as a pedal for horn players. That's crazy. So Del Casher ironically said, yeah, that's a great idea. You should call Clyde McCoy and get him to endorse this pedal. And they did. So the first 100 VOX wah-wah pedal units actually do have his name on it and a picture on the bottom. They're actually called the VOX Clyde McCoy wah-wah. And that technically makes it the first signature pedal ever made, and it wasn't even made for a guitar player. I mean, how crazy is that? That's f***ing ridiculous if you ask me. So Del Casher was not happy about this at all. So he said to VOX, I'm going to record an EP at home, because he, had a studio at home, as one does, and decided to cut a couple of tracks to display how awesome this pedal was on guitar. But they had so little faith in it that they had no budget for it. So instead of actually doing the record on a vinyl, they actually printed the record on cardboard. So you could actually listen to it once, maybe twice, and it'll just break. It was disposable.
VOX's fabulous new wah-wah pedal opens the door to a variety of great new sounds. The entire foot goes on the pedal. When the foot is rocked forward, the guitar sound becomes sharp. As the foot is rocked back, the sound becomes mellow. Now we'll play a lick and slowly rock the foot forward, going from mellow to sharp. By rocking the foot back and forth, we get the wah-wah effect. The same applies for chords. The wah-wah pedal lets you go from mellow rhythm to sharp lead. Quickly, and all without dropping a beat.
So yeah, they would just hand them out as pamphlets and stuff like that, so you could actually listen to it, hear it out, and if you actually did like it, then you can go ahead and buy it. This EP was aptly named Crybaby. Sadly, nobody at VOX bothered to trademark that name, so less than a year later, out comes Dunlop with their new Crybaby pedal, which to this day is the #1 top-selling wah-wah pedal of all time. Luckily, one day, Frank Zappa actually hired Del Casher as a session player, and he was really intrigued by this pedal and the sound that he was making with it. So he got really into it. And then, rumor has it, he actually told Jimi Hendrix about it, and the rest is history. I don't know, man. I love this thing. Look at it. It's beautiful. I also have a hand-wired one, and this is an old USA one, which you actually have to unscrew the rubber feet before you can get to the 9-volt battery compartment. So it's kind of annoying, but it sounds really good. Way better than the Chinese ones they make now. I also have this in the hand-wired version, which is awesome. I love this thing. Check this out. I love this thing. But honestly, I never play it because I don't want to mess it up. And I do have a couple of Dunlop Crybaby ones, like the GCB 95. And thanks to one of my buddies, I actually have a 595Q and the Dime Crybaby from Hell. Awesome pedals. Thanks, bro. Okay, so what's your favorite song or solo with a wah-wah pedal? Let me know in the comment section down below. Mine is probably... No, scratch that. Mine is definitely the Great King Rat's guitar solo from Queen's debut album. Awesome, killer, grotesque wah-wah sound. Fucking amazing.
Show me.
Anyway guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please drop me a comment if you did, drop me a like. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like and man if you haven't yet. And if you want to help support the channel, please consider becoming a patron. A little goes a long way and we surely do appreciate it. I will see you guys next time. Pat out, metal on dudes.